not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, The Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Got a brand new show this week and tons of great information. We have the brand new macro market numbers in. Those are very, very interesting to say the least. It's one of the first months we've seen a month versus month, year versus year decline in terms of sales. It's improved slightly. We'll talk about that, kind of what's going on there as well. One thing we'll talk about too, we've been getting this question a lot, and we kind of want to address that. We get it from both buyers and sellers to talk about, is the real estate market going to crash, right? We have some answers for that for you based on data. We shared this briefly a couple weeks ago, but really have the deep data for you, which would be very, very helpful as well. Also, something that's very, very important too. Does your house have what buyers want? A new report shows that many houses do not, based on current trends, demographics, things like that, in terms of this new post-COVID world. We'll talk about what's going on there as well. Also have some look at some national numbers. Some things are really good. A few things are a little bit challenging. We'll talk about some have some great expectations for data and numbers going forward, which is really, really good. One thing that's really good here locally, been watching this every single day on my team, and we've been watching pending deals. They're still smoking hot. We almost hit really kind of some summer numbers this past week with over 700 under contract in 7 days, 220 million in terms of properties that were under contract, which is huge for this time of year into our what we call our shoulder season. So we'll talk about that. Interest rates also took a quick jump this week. But they're still hovering right around low threes, which is very, very helpful. One thing also, our team is hiring both on the sales team, administrative team, specifically a photographer, and also our sales team is really, really just rock and roll at over 150 pending deals right now, and tons and tons and tons of leads. Also, some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it. I will tell some really cool stories we're seeing right now, how we're getting people so much more money they thought they could get, or helping them in a situation where the property couldn't be sold otherwise. So lots of great stuff to talk about here rest of the show.
All right, lots of stuff. If you're in for the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to, it's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show. Hosted by This kid has been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, other national publications. You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Breakfast Morning Show. You've heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Hannity. Also, Barbara Corcoran, Gary Labatz, put them all together. It's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing. But the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, and that's just the overall reason, the whole DNA behind this show and why we do this show, because so many people I see this week after week after week after week for over 10 years now doing the show is people who are very well educated, very, very smart, very, experienced even in buying, selling, make the same mistakes over and over when they're dealing with their largest asset. And the mistake they make is thinking that all real estate agents are the same. It could not be further from the truth, right? Just like any doctor, any lawyer, I say all the time, if you charge their crime you did not commit, you don't want your friend who's just an attorney who tried a few cases last year. You want the absolute best, who's the most aggressive and the most in tune with that type of law. And I just can't understand sometimes why people don't really demand that same level of excellence when they're dealing with, for most of people, their largest asset. And so here's the deal. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing and one thing only. That thing is the agent you choose, period. That's it, right? Not the wall color, not the grass quality. It comes down to the agent you choose, specifically how they actually execute. Because when you're selling a property, there's a lot of things that have to be done correctly. And specifically, there's 118 different things that have to happen to get to a successful home sale on the listing side. If each one's handled correctly, guess what it does? Puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. If anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, that costs you your hard-earned equity. A lot of times a property does not sell at all. And that could be anything from the quality of the photos, specifically the order of the photos that get done. Does your agent actually answer the telephone when buyers call the property to get information on it? If they do, right, how long does it take to call them back if they miss that call? Or do they actually call back web leads online? There's so many nuances all the way down to pricing and all these things that must be done correctly in the right order, stacked up to get you to the outcome that you want. And so what we found is it's virtually impossible for one single agent or even two agents to juggle all those balls on one listing, much less multiple listings. And so what most agents do are the 3 Ps. One, they promise the world to get the listing from you, tell you anything and everything they can to get the listing. Number two, they put it to MLS. And number three, they pray that someone else brings in buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street getting the next listing. And that's one thing you're seeing right now a lot too with some discount realtors are coming in. Hey, look, I'll do it at a lower price because the market's kind of hot, and put it MLS, and that's it. Like literally, that's it. And we're watching them leave 10, 20, $30,000 on the table in doing so. And so the reality is you have to have a system that's proven repeatable to help manage those variables. And so that's what we did. Say, look, there's got to be a better way. And so set out to create a system, like I mentioned, that's proven and repeatable that manage those variables proactively. We do that with people and technology. So a huge team of people, right? Both administratively on the sales side, and then also technology we built out to help manage those things before the issues come up. And so the system we designed is called the Guaranteed Sold System. The only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. On the flip side, there's 100 plus variables for buyers out there. And it's a difficult market, right? A lot of people are having properties that are missing out on. They're making 3 or 4 offers. They can't move quick enough. They're just getting these things that are hurting them. And the reality is you have to have experience and someone who can understand those nuances to help guide you through that and make the right decisions to get to the finish line successfully. And so the system we designed is called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Get you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as negotiation of home inspection to get you to the closing table successfully. And both those really do one thing and one thing only, and they give you a competitive advantage. And so it's so important to have that right now, especially when the market's hot, because mistakes have more impact. And so what you're looking at is you have really one of the largest unskilled labor forces of realtors ever in history, right? You've seen it balloon. Everyone in the world's getting real estate right now. Everyone's got 6 friends in real estate. But the reality is the average agent here sells 4 homes a year. And so the reality is they're not going to be very experienced in that. And on the listing side, they're not going to have much marketing dollars to help get you what you want. And one of the biggest things I've been talking about lately, I think it's important to kind of mention it again. I think I may have taken a few weeks off of talking about this, but it's really been one of the best ways I've found to articulate the difference. And so the reality is you don't even need a real estate agent right now if you look to sell your house. That's the fact, right? You can sell it yourself. You need one. But here's the thing. That does not mean you're selling it for the most amount of money possible, right? And so the best analogy I've been able to come up with is, let's say you have an amazing, pristine classic Corvette. Classic Corvette only has a few miles on it, been sitting in the garage, you just inherited it. You can take that classic Corvette and put it in the Walmart parking lot today here on 501, get that property sold, no problem. Put a for sale sign on it, get your call to your cell phone, sell it, boom, no problem, sell it for a decent amount of money. But ask yourself this question: did I sell the classic Corvette for the most amount of money possible? We both know that answer, absolutely not. And so why would you think anything otherwise when you're talking about your largest asset? And so let's say you took that same classic Corvette, you put it in the Walmart parking lot, but you also put it in every Corvette enthusiast magazine, every Corvette enthusiast website, every Corvette enthusiast group online, and get massive, massive exposure to the tune of 100x. And all of a sudden, what happens is you have more buyers that come in, and you find buyers who are willing to pay a premium for that car. And so that's what we do. The same exact thing with your house is we take that and we get the massive exposure both nationally, internationally, to allow buyers to come in who will bid the property really and pay a premium for that property. And the problem though is most agents, all they do, they take your house and they put it into the Walmart parking lot. If you know what that is, that's the MLS. That's it, right? That's what most of them do from a marketing standpoint. There's no real money spend that brings them in. And so with our business model, we have a huge advantage. We outspend the average agent here 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint, bringing in more exposure to find more buyers who are willing to pay a premium for your property. And so if you want to know more how that works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. Take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Bring in national and international buyers that bring more buyers to our homes, that generate more offers, and in many cases, multiple offers that get our clients top dollar. Makes sense. So what does that mean for someone who lists today? That means that anyone that's thinking about listing today, if they list with an average agent, they can cost themselves $10, $20, $30, $40,000 for hard-earned equity because the property did not get the exposure that they deserve. They must call a top agent with the right marketing plan to give them the exposure they need.
All right, as always, thanks for the insight. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. We offer several options for home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, we can agree to sell it by a certain date, take capture a home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
We use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get the home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Two brand new commercials there. One from Sean. Super excited to have that out. I recorded that one a while back, a few weeks back. Then the brand new commercial from Barbara Corcoran, which you're probably seeing on TV right now, both on Shark Tank, also Good Morning America, and local news here. And so very honored to be in business with both of them, and very excited about the new stuff we have coming up there. So really quick, we'll get into the market numbers for anyone that missed a couple weeks show. We're finishing up, the last month's numbers, whether brand new ones out in next week's show, but they're interesting. I think we'll probably see a bounce back next month, just watching the real-time data. But looking at closed sales, if you remember last month's sales, we saw a 5.3% decrease in the amount of properties sold. If you remember a couple weeks ago, it was actually 8%. But since then, some agents have put sales in a little bit later, and it kind of upped the data a little bit. So, for example, 993 single-family home sales last month, which is great for single-family, all construction types. If you look at just single out only resales, which is what I like to usually do, resale only, sales were down 6.2%, only at 680 home sales. So if you look at the peak of this year, though, in June there was 797, April 785, March 777, and it's dropped the past couple of months. In July, it dropped down to 655. Right now, we're back up to 680, which is still really good. We're seeing a little bit of recovery. Some of that had to do with just some buyer fatigue. Interest rates had started to climb up when it was really low. And so we'll talk about what we'll see there. I'll also talk about in a minute what we're seeing pending wise, which is like the new hot deals we'll see close in the next 30, 60 days. So great news there. The really best part of that is pricing. Pricing's up like crazy. In average sale price, we just hit a new record, which is great, up 17.1% for single family home sales on the Grand Strand, $416,509, which is a new record. Never thought we'd see that in terms of average sale price here, which is awesome. And also, like, I used to go to all these real estate conferences, and I still do all the time, all across the country. And they used to kind of make fun of me for being in the Redneck Riviera, where we had average sale price of like 150, 200, and places in California and other states were significantly higher. So we're catching up, which is great. Looking at median price, we're up 20.1%, which is great. The only thing there to note is that we're seeing 3 months of really a plateau in terms of price. If you look at median price, so last month, 325,000, which is great. The month before that, 325, and the third month before that, which is in July, 324,750. So in the last 3 months, only seen a median price increase of $250, and so it does kind of show we may be sitting a little bit of a ceiling here on affordability, a ceiling here on what people are willing to pay, and really what the market can sustain overall. But we are still seeing a massive influx of hundreds of millions of dollars coming in from the Northeast. We're seeing that daily. We had a sweet couple come in our office yesterday I spoke with for a while from Massachusetts, and they were super frustrated. They're super frustrated with the vaccine mandates, having to prove, have a vaccine to go anywhere. And they were just telling me their story, and it was interesting to kind of hear about that and why they were seeking out being down here in terms of retirement. So great news here for the Grand Strand. They were asking me about our governor, all kind of great stuff, but we've seen that through dozens and dozens and dozens of buyers here recently just in my office. So that's great news for us. It means we're insulated in terms of marketplace where people are still moving here geographically, which is very good. The one thing that's helping protect price is supply. Supply is down significantly, down 51.7% from the same time last year. It has bumped up a little bit. Right now, we're at 1.4 months of inventory. We hit an all-time low this year at 0.9 months inventory back in between April and also in May. And so the overall thing here, we have seen inventory increase a little bit, but it's still in a super seller's market. We're still in an inventory crisis. And like I mentioned all the time, anything below 6 months of inventory means the seller has the advantage. And as you can see here at 1.4 months, it's very significant in that term. So great news there. Really quick into condos. Condo sales last month up 10.7%, which is great. One thing about condos, though, we are seeing a 1, 2, 3 month decline in terms of sales also. So last month, 660 condo sales. If you look at the peak of this year in May, it was 846. So significant drop there. One of the things that's really driving that is just inventory has been off a cliff. We're in a new all-time low in terms of inventory. Right now, there's 77.8% less condos on the market than there was the same month last year. And really that comes from single-family homes. Prices jumped up. A lot of people got priced out of the market. So what they do, they jumped into condos and they bought all those up too. And that's what we've been seeing. So right now, 1.0 months of inventory for condos, down 77.8%. The good news is price has really been protected. Median price, a new record for condos, of 13.5% at $176,000. Also, average sale price up 11.7% overall, which is great at $216,512. And so one thing that's really kind of helping that is interest rates have stayed a little bit low. They've still been creeping up, the past few weeks. Right now, 30-year fixed rate, 3.22%. Last week's show, 3.23. Earlier this week, it went back down to 3.18. So you're seeing it kind of jump between 3.18 up to 3.22 right now. Again, like I said, last week at 3.23. The week before that, 3.14. Week before that, 3.10. And then about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we're at 2.96. So you're seeing the trend. I covered a couple shows ago how a lot of the overall experts in the mortgage world are predicting definitely increase significantly here, fourth quarter and first, second, and third quarter of next year. So what that means is, if I'm on the fence, I'm thinking about buying or selling, take advantage of that right now. As rates are still low, they're still creeping up. It'll mean less buyers if you're a seller. If you're buying, obviously, it means you pay more for that property. And so 15-year fixed rate right now, 2.61%. A 30-year FHA loan, 2.82%. A jumbo loan right now, 3.15%. And a 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now is 3.0%. So overall, great news. Really, really kind of important. That one thing I was going to cover really quick for the quick break is that looking at single family sales that just went under contract last 7 days, 718 of them, 222 million. So what that means is we're seeing a summer hotness kind of come in, a second little streak here in this fall market. And those are some of the numbers we were seeing early on in the summer. It did drop down into the 500s just a couple of months ago, late summer. And really, we've seen it creep back up to 600s. And right now, this past week, we've seen significant, almost every day this week's been over 700 properties under contract. So great news. If you're thinking about selling this fall, we have seen an extra little bump or surge of buyers coming in. And so if you want to know more about how that works, reach out, call us, 843-808-SOLD. Take a quick break, come back with our hot buyers here in a second. Are we looking on time, Dave?
When I'm moving on, won the award for ACM Song of the Year. It struck a chord.
Like 6-7 minutes?
And the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, come on,
Okay.
a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's going to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot Buyers Alert. This is something we're very, very proud of each week. My team and I, we're working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers right now who are looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area, 150,000 up to 3.5 million. If you're thinking about selling or know anyone that is, please contact us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. And one thing we do, I think that's kind of the most powerful thing that we do when we sit down with clients, anything is we just show the cards on the table. And every week we've been doing this for almost like over 10 years probably, as we go through our weekly Hot Buyer Alert numbers. And so right now, usually go over this with Dave, but right now, 64,967 buyers. Again, 64,967 buyers. That's our active buyer count currently that are on our site, registered, searching for homes actively with username, password, account, from all over. Like right now on the site, I have David Camillo from Hamburg, New York. I got Angela from Beckley, West Virginia. I got Lynn from Greensboro, North Carolina. I got Jeff from Smethport, PA. I got Frank from Myrtle Inlet, South Carolina. I got Susan from Liberty, North Carolina. I got Lancaster, New York. San Dimas, California. Little Chute, Wisconsin. I got Hollywood, Florida. And so the reality is we got places all over the country. Again, Oakland, California right now, searching our site. That's Jean, and she's been here 179 visits. So she's searching like crazy. She's active right now on the site. And so the reason I share that, because everyone asks the question of like, hey, what makes you different than anyone else? And I always talk about the biggest difference is our business model. We're able to outspend the average agent 100 to 1 because of our business model. We have a team of buyer specialists. Right now, I think we're about 20 buyer specialists on our team, maybe a little more than that. And we have a team of administrative specialists. We have a listing team. We have inside sales. We have outside sales. And so we have all this team of specialists versus a single agent who's just a generalist trying to juggle all those balls, right? You have one agent usually. They're trying to basically cook the French fries, do the drive-through, and the front register at the same time. And it doesn't work very effectively. But the reality is they can't spend a whole lot of money because there's just one person, right? If I was one single person with 64,967 buyers, I'd be out of business because you can't sustain that marketing dollar that long. And so the advantage we give you is that by the time you pick up the phone to call us today, we already have a huge amount of what we call buyers in waiting. They're there waiting. We have a software technology. We're able to go in and we take any new listing and it reverse engineers the most likely buyer for that property based on their previous search patterns. And it's an algorithm that we have. It works very, very well. Then our sales team reaches out to them and says, hey, we have a brand new listing. It matches exactly what you're looking for. Do you want to take a look at it? And of course, they say yes, because that's exactly what they're looking for. And they're familiar with us. Where the average agent, they talk to you, they start marketing at that point. Then they put a sign in the yard. They put it to the Walmart parking lot, aka the MLS, and they pray that someone else brings a buyer. And so if you want to know more about how it works, and again, we need inventory. I mentioned earlier, we're in an inventory crisis. Reach out to me now, today, 843-808-SOLD. Save me your phone. If you come across anyone this weekend, friend, relative, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, whatever it is, do not let them make a mistake of cost themselves $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. We're seeing that happen all over the place right now, where an average agent, not free the marketplace, they still at MLS, and then all of a sudden they underprice it, and they cost that seller $20,000, $30,000, and they're not pushing the limit. And so you want to make sure you have someone who understands the pace of the market right now and has the access to the buyers who are willing to pay a premium. So really quick, so we give an amazing shout out to our team. I've been crushing it. A big shout out to Russell and Terry. They used to live in Conway area, but many years ago they moved away. They still kept the home in Conway, though. They've been using it for a number of years as a rental property. As years have gone by, it became more and more difficult for them to keep up with the property. So they recently made a decision to sell the property, knowing the market's at an all-time high. And it's a perfect time to sell. Thankfully, they referred to us, Sloan Realty Group, by an amazing radio listener. They called us. We came in, showed them exactly what we could do to get their home sold quickly for the most amount of money, design a custom plan, launch our global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough. We drove massive traffic with just a few days. They received an offer above asking price. Now they're able to move on, put maximum dollar in their pocket, aka equity, and not have to worry about being landlords from far away anymore. So big shout out to them and Jeremy and our team for doing that. Also, Andrew and his family had recently made a decision to make a move into a new construction home. But in order for them to do that, they had to sell their current home first for top dollar to be able to purchase the new one. Thankfully, Andrew heard about us on the radio, called us first. We came in, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough. Within just one day, drove massive traffic, had them a full price offer on their home, allowing them to close on a new construction without missing out, without losing any money on their home, which is awesome. And so one last one, I mentioned this last week. I'm not going to go in detail too much, but Melissa was in a tough situation, needed to sell ASAP. She reached out to these investors online. They lowballed her, some of the local ones you hear on the radio, and they lowballed her very, very low. We came in, thankfully, she found out about us. Somebody told her about us, came in. We showed her we can get her a lot more money, sell it very, very quickly, launch our plan. We got 18 offers on her property, sold it as is for $80,000 more dollars than the other investors had offered. And this is something we see all the time. We're seeing agents who come in, they list with their friend just tells them a low number because they only sold 4 houses last year. And a lot of times they're costing themselves $30,000, $40,000, don't realize it. And so very, very proud of that situation, getting $100,000 more dollars than we thought there. So great opportunity there. If you know anyone that wants to be a success story, have them call us. We also are seeing a lot of challenges right now with appraisals. We just overcame $100,000 appraisal gap where the property we sold it was over $100,000 more than what the appraisal did. We fought the appraisal, went back, got things worked out, and got our seller that money, saved them over $100,000 they would have lost if they would agreed to that or had an average agent in that scenario. So very important there. How much time we got left, Dave? 3 minutes. Awesome. Just want to share one thing we've been talking about here. Overall, I think that is kind of important right now. Does your house have what buyers want? And this is an important kind of thing we're seeing right now is there's a huge rise in overall remote work. And so, quote, it's changing what many Americans want in their homes. Many companies are now choosing to delay reopening or going remote full-time at home. And so here's what today's buyers looking for: homes with more space to support their work needs. And so here's a quote from the article. As a seller, if you no longer have the extra room in your home, rest assured, there are buyers who do. And so here's a whole quote of it. Remote work is here to stay. And it's really important where it said 66% of organizations are delaying reopening of their offices due to the new COVID-19 variants. And so they're going through these surveys and they're talking about what exactly do buyers want. And a lot of times, here's what they're saying. Among employees looking for new jobs, almost 1 in 10 say it's because they moved away from the office while working remotely, don't want to go back on site. And so as that's happening, right, most people are wanting space. And so they surveyed buyers from 2020, 2021, and say, what do people want more home? And the answer, 48% this year, so they wanted an office space or place for virtual meetings. Last year, only 24% of those people actually said that. And so that means as a home seller, right, you want to make sure that you're able to really kind of, I guess, all set for that a little bit, be able to show spaces in a way where people can have some of that work from home opportunity, have a home office, aka if you can really doll that up a little bit, gingerbread it up, it would make a big selling piece. And we're seeing that all over the place. We mentioned before, we have a great new team member, Mark, on our team. They moved down here from Washington, D.C. Has military background. Wife works for NIH, and she works now remotely. And they moved down to Myrtle Beach, and we're seeing that happen a lot here. And so if you want to know more how we can help you find get top dollar for your home and really help adjust to that, we have a full team. We're able to help say, look, how do we reverse engineer who the most likely buyer is for you and how we're able to help do that overall. And so 1 minute left. Really one thing I'll talk about that we have is interesting. 2 quick numbers where I don't have time to talk about the market crash. I'll do that next week. But home price growth stays at record. New Wall Street Journal article out. My stepdad, shout out him, John Drone, sent this to me. But he talked about economists surveyed by the Wall Street Journal expected a 20-city index to gain 19.8% going forward. We just hit new record numbers there in that scenario. And also commercial sales, also a Wall Street Journal article, reach a record in third quarter, $193 billion in the quarter. That's up 19% the same months in 2019 before the pandemic. And so interesting enough, we're seeing work from home. We're also seeing some repurposing of commercial property. And so the good news is everything's still up here in Myrtle Beach. Not sure how long that party is going to last. If you have any questions regarding real estate, always call my office. We're here to serve you. We've done this show for a long time to serve you in terms of just information, data, and help you make better decisions. So call us anytime, 843-808-SOLD, never pressure, never any hassle. And we're always here to serve you. You can also go to blakesloan.com anytime. We'll see you back here next week.
Hey, if you were in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Hannity here with some important advice. Now, look, I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot, cold, moderate markets. And one of the lessons